Welcome to the show, everyone. Dana and I are basically square dancing now.
Yeah.
One step forward, two steps back, one step to the side and around, Dana.
Yeah, up, down. You just
Uh,
totally brought back a memory to me of, I'm
yeah.
pretty sure it would have been grade school. We probably did
Okay.
this on like rainy days when we couldn't go out on the playground and we go to the gym and do stuff, and square dancing was one of them.
Us two
Yeah.
in good old Calgary, Alberta.
Well, there you
Hee-haw.
go. Yep.
Square dancing was
Mhm.
part of our PE rotation in elementary school.
Oh, well, there you go. And I
I
didn't like it
mean,
because you
yeah.
didn't have a partner.
Oh, but in square dancing, you rotate.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
You
you
have to
sort of start with,
you
that's
you
true.
pair up, but you rotate between partners,
That's true.
right?
Yeah, 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 you kinda do that
I
arm thing, you go around and
Yes,
yeah,
I would
yeah,
square
yeah.
dance with you. I'd choose you as my partner, Dana.
Okay, I would square dance with you too. Yeah.
Okay.
So this
We
brings us to
basically
our
said we love
topic
each
of
other. We basically said we love each other. Just saying.
that change is more like a square dance. It's not
Yeah.
linear, right?
No,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, God, I can remember my own therapy being frustrated,
Yeah.
about thinking I finally nailed something, like, I get it now. And then I would do it again, like do the thing I was trying to avoid again. And the idea is, if you think of it, we used the analogy in our last podcast about lifting weights. You don't go from never lifting weights to, snatching 100 pounds over your head. You have
Yeah.
to build up to that. I'm thinking of my wife and I, because she's 60 and I'm almost 60, and our doctors are talking to us about things like, make sure you keep your balance skills because you're less likely to fall. Um, and then she read a statistic that the majority of people that are 60 and over, like 90+% can't stand on one foot for more than 10 seconds. And that's abysmal. Anyway, we're better at that. But we got this thing that looks like a snowboard and it has a strap that goes across
Yep.
and you balance on it, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to be like, oh, yeah, we're good. We get on this thing right away. We'll be able to balance, no problem. Yeah, no, not so much. It's hard. So she went online and found videos that are on like YouTube that give you exercises to do to get to that point. And I know enough about neuroanatomy to know you have to do the repetitions. You have to keep practicing because that's how your neurons rewire. When you first learned to ride a bike, you didn't get on the bike the first time and ride flawlessly. You probably fell down and you had to have someone hold you or use training wheels. And that's what the process of change is like. It's not linear. It is more like square dancing where you're going backwards
Yeah.
and forwards and to the side, and then you've made 3 steps forward, but then you take 8 back, and then it can be really frustrating because you think you get something, and then it feels like you revert back, and
Yeah.
that's totally normal.
Yeah.
This could apply to the people that I work with in my own experience also, in terms of like autism stuff, like the symptoms. Why one day can I be fine with something and another day I'm not? Because even like your state isn't all or nothing. It isn't linear. You're a different person every day and those kinds of
Mhm.
things.
Mhm.
But anytime you're trying to get habit in place or learn anything or learn a new way of doing something, it takes time, and you do have to put those reps in.
Yeah, and I mean, just also like kind of going back to neurology and
Mhm.
neuroanatomy and the way that we're wired, the brain is always going to choose the easiest path, the
Mhm.
path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So until you build a new habit, so like when we think about habit replacement,
Mhm.
because that's really what it is. When you have a bad habit, you need to replace the habit, not get rid of the habit. And I
Yeah.
think that's where a lot of habit things can go awry for people in their thinking. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, but those neural pathways on a habit, even if it's a bad habit, right, are built.
Mhm.
It's almost like instead of going through the jungle and hacking away at the bush, you have a concrete road laid down. So it's a very
Mhm.
easy pathway. That's what your brain's going to choose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not until your new pathway is
Mm.
as efficient or more efficient than the other one,
Yeah.
that it switches. And
Yep.
so that time, that gap is where you got to put in the repetitions
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
order for your brain to be like, okay, I'm going to dump that. It's also why like um bad habits of addiction and like things like this are very hard
Yeah.
to beat because
Yeah.
that road is still there.
Yeah.
It doesn't go
Exactly.
away. It's just
Yeah.
dormant.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to reignite those. And so that's why routines are really,
Mhm.
really positive for people, right? If you
Yep.
want to build new habits and healthy habits in your life, you build routines in your life.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I mean, and I agree, for me, who leans more to the perfectionistic kind of
Mm.
side, I think
Yeah.
what happens in my thinking sometimes even is I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Oh, crap. I messed
Mm.
up, right? I
Ah.
couldn't sustain it. I couldn't do it. You know what? Oh, well, F it, like
Oh, and then you just give
whatever.
up.
And then
Yeah.
I just get
Yeah.
rid of it and
Yeah.
I'm back to old habits again
Yeah.
versus, okay, you know what? I fully accept that it's going to be perfectly imperfect. Like
Yeah.
it's not linear. It's going to be 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 3 steps
Mhm.
forward. Woo, whoa, 5 steps back.
Mm.
What? Like,
Yep.
but that over time, the trend is better.
Yeah.
Right. And it's hard to hold those future goals when you've got to deal with the immediate gratification or you
Yeah.
don't see the weight gain, let's just say. You don't gain 10 pounds in a
Yeah.
day. You
Yeah.
gain it
Right. Right.
over
You're
3
not gonna
months
take.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
It's
creeps. You
fun.
just don't even
Yeah.
notice it.
And that giving up that all or nothing kind of thinking, like if
Yeah.
I had a day where I forgot to do these little exercises on the balancing thing, and I'm like, and then I had last week there was 2 days in a row where I forgot, and part of my thinking was like, oh crap, I've lost it all. No, I haven't lost it all.
No.
I missed 2 days, and it's okay to get. And I may take some steps back, but keep going. Even like AA modified the idea of falling off the wagon again about 10, 15 years ago. It used to be, you know, you just the goal is to not drink, but it used to be you could have a 30-year sobriety, and if you fell off the wagon once, you started from the beginning. And they
Mm-mm.
realized those stakes were just too high.
Yeah.
And now they see it as more of a fluid thing, like, okay, you fell off one day, it's okay, and now go back to what you were doing before. So you don't lose all of that momentum. And that's a real game changer, right? If you
Yeah.
are seeing it as, because otherwise it's like, screw it then. I'm just going to, do whatever because I fell off once in 30 years and it's over. Versus I'm going to keep up with this just because I had one day where, I didn't do it. And they say to establish a new neural pathway with that kind of thing takes like a minimum of about 3 weeks. But even then, your other one hasn't died off yet. So the nice paved one that's easy to go on is going to stay there. And for some folks, those are going to stay paved for a lifetime. And for other folks, they do it long enough and then that one dies off. And that's sort of like there may be something even wiring wise for like an addicted type
Yeah.
brain.
Yeah.
Probably that's what's going on. And keep in mind, evolutionarily, to have the easiest road established has helped us survive, right? You should use the least amount of energy to do anything. That's what sort of got us here, right? To dominate and then screw up
Yeah.
the earth. But to make us where we are on the top of the chain, it takes a while to redo those. I love the eye exercise thing because I had a crossed eye when I was a kid and had to do the exercises and wear the patch and all that stuff. But even after we tried those and they didn't work, and then I had the surgery, I still had to do exercises afterwards. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember my mom telling me things like, I know it's hard. We don't, you don't like doing this, but it's getting better every day. And I kind of, it's like 3, right? So I had to trust her, whether it was or not, I have no idea. But the fact that she was saying to me, I can tell it's getting better every day was enough to make me want to do it. Like, okay, I'm going to
Yeah.
do it. Right.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that giving yourself that little pedophore, or giving yourself the little, good job, whatever that is, aw shucks, that you got up another day and you did whatever, right? And then those do become ingrained habits over time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
to the point where you don't even kind of think about it, anymore.
Mhm.
But that there's
Mhm.
that transition time is difficult. I mean, it's a difficult
Oh,
time to navigate. It's probably when you need the most amount of support. I mean, I
yeah.
definitely encourage people to lean into support or put in structures. I mean,
Mhm.
even Dana and I talk about, even though we're psychologists and we know these things, we still
Mhm.
need quite a bit of help in our
Oh,
lives
yeah.
to
Yep.
make those things happen.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like, don't get discouraged. Progress is not linear. It
Yeah.
is, it is zigzaggy, but if you
Mhm.
can keep connected to why you're doing it, and this is why, when people are setting goals, it's like you got to get underneath the
Yeah.
why of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, because it's probably something that you won't notice right away. And if
Right.
anything, you might get sore, like going back to weightlifting or
Mhm.
adding exercise or movement to your life. I mean, those first few weeks are not pleasant if
No.
you've been sedentary.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah,
like,
things
oh, who
hurt.
knew going to the bathroom would be this hard? I don't know. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you can't even, you can't even put your pants on. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
it's
Yep.
hard. And so, how do you? I love those little like it's getting it's getting better and I
Yeah.
think don't get discouraged.
And
And
get, yeah, like you said, get help, or what I
yeah.
say, like, get a lattice work of support around you to help with those things so
Hmm.
that you have a, uh, someone to help you stay on the rails, but you also have the path of least resistance as much as you can.
Yeah.
Make, if eating something healthy for breakfast is hard, make sure you have easy to use on the go options in your house. If you have nothing in your house but an egg and you don't have time to cook it, you're going to stop at McDonald's on the way to work. It's pretty
Yeah.
obvious. So you do want to,
Yeah.
like, put things in place that will help you stay on goal as much as you can. Hmm.
I mean, we go back to environment again.
Yeah. Yep.
It
That's
seems to
right.
be just kind of a theme for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Understanding, self awareness,
Right.
environmental modifications, or contextual kinds
Hmm.
of shifts, right?
Hmm.
Um, and that you do need to be prepared for progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's,
so that
it's
is, yeah,
normal to not be a
yes,
straight line. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
and that's really really hard to hold. When you're in the midst of doing something challenging or difficult for yourself where,
Yeah. Yeah.
it seems like it's just easier just to
Give
give
up.
up.
Yeah. I always think of athletics with that. I mean, even pro athletes go through the basic motions daily because they know if they don't, they'll lose those. Even if they've gotten to that level, you still have to do those base practices every day or they'll lose those abilities. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, just Dana and I on your shoulders just saying,
Hang in there.
keep at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Keep at it. You got it.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
Yeah.
You're getting better every day. I love that. Like you
Yep.
can hear your mom's voice in your head,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you got this, right? Like
Yeah.
this is good. Well, Dana, on that note, I mean, be good to you, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna go do some balancing on my balance thing now. I'm
You
motivated.
know, tangentially, because you and I typically end with tangents. My
Yeah.
husband, who's a physical therapist, has some
Yeah.
subspecialties, and one is vestibular. He's a vestibular
Oh,
specialty,
cool.
and so he does a lot of fall prevention and balance work. So
Yeah,
when you told
nice.
me what that board was, I was like, I know exactly what that
Ah,
board
yeah.
is, and it is not
It's
easy.
not easy. No, it's not.
And I love that you're like, there are actually things I need to work on before I even hop on that board. Because how
Yep,
many
yep.
people would buy that board and be like, I'm going to pop on this board? And it's like, whoa,
Can't do it?
you're not
Yeah,
ready
yep,
for that board yet.
yep. I taught myself to ride a unicycle when I was a kid, and that took days. And I started by holding on to stuff, and then I could ride that thing just as well as I rode my regular bike. So I keep that in mind. I'm like, I'm going to get there, and then I'm going to be so happy when I get there, but it's going to take the work to get there. Yeah.
Hey, Dana, do you ever reflect back on your past and go, well, that was diagnostic?
The fact that I taught myself how to ride a unicycle, yeah, yeah, totally, all the time. Yep, yep.
I mean, when Dana reflects about her past, I'm always like, oh, I mean, Just put that in her
That was
chronology.
clue number 928.
962. I'm
Right?
not saying, listen, if you are in the circus and you're riding a unicycle, I'm not saying you're autistic. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah,
saying in the
yeah.
context of Dana's life, the fact that
Yes.
she decided, I'm
And
going
then
to
did
learn how
it.
to ride a
Yeah,
unicycle and I'm going
yeah.
to do it. And I'm going to do
Taught
it as
my
well as I
yeah.
ride a two-wheeled
Yep, that's right.
bicycle,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
guess that's redundant. A two-wheeled bicycle. Duh. It's a
Well, yeah,
bicycle.
kind of. Yeah, right,
Bye.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well, I
yeah.
mean, yeah, I have some
And
dumb
by the way, you
moments.
do lose it because I did buy another unicycle about 5 years ago, and it didn't come right back. I didn't keep going because I was seriously gonna hurt myself.
So it's not like riding a bicycle. It's so actually that's where the saying ends.
If you
It's
have 2
just like
tires,
riding
I
a
think
bicycle.
it's just like riding a bike, but when it's a
Mm-mm.
unicycle, not so
It's
much.
not
Yeah,
like
because
riding a unicycle.
because my muscles weren't, and primed, and my point of balance was in a different place, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah.
What did you do with the unicycle?
I took it and donated it to a unicycle school. There were little kids ride unicycles because it was a nice unicycle. I spent a
Eh,
lot of money on it.
You
So
know, you know what? I'm sorry. And you know what? If you're not watching on YouTube and you're just on, you can sign off now. You don't have to wait for us to say goodbye. You can be like Gwen and Dana have
oh
they're
god.
gone. But I'm having a reaction to the fact that they're unicycle schools. So
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
well, again,
They do
if you're still
there's a
listening, it's
Seattle
time for you to go. I mean, it's fine.
there's a
Dana and I are just going to continue.
there's a Seattle unicycle school, and they ride during halftime at the Washington Husky basketball games. They do these little things at halftime. So yes, it's a thing with little kids, and they have like really tall ones. Like these kids are like 20 feet in the air riding these unicycles. So you may be
Do you think it's
surprised
a
at how
Seattle
popular.
thing?
No, I've seen it all over.
Okay.
I just think it's sort of like snowboarding, right? It's a different version of riding a bike, and yeah, it's good training
I
for little kids to learn how to do that, right?
I love it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
I love it all, but I love that if we kept the story going, I think there would be
Yeah.
more and more and more wonderful gems and juicy bits that would come
Yeah.
that I would find completely
Yeah.
endearing.
I
Well, if
also
you're
taught
still,
myself
oh
to
yeah,
walk on stilts.
okay, all
That
right,
I can't do that as an adult.
okay. So that goes in the book as well as 1,205.
Yeah. Can you see the non-linearness of this ending?
You are so good at that.
I'm good at that.
If you're still
Pattern
with us,
recognition. Yeah.
if you're still with us, I don't know whether to say sorry or you're welcome. I'm not really sure, but if you are, we love you. We love this community. Let's
We
keep
do.
lifting each other up, riding unicycles or lifting
Yep.
yourself up on stilts.
That's right. Yep.
There you go.
Yep. We could make a whole thing, psychologists on stilts. We could be millionaires.
No, it would just be psychologist on stilts, and it would be me with you, not on stilts. Could someone draw
Well,
that?
there you go. Yeah, yeah, there you
Okay.
go.
All right.
Oh my god.
Wow. Talk about popcorn thinking. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, here we
Okay.
go.
All right.
Thanks,
Everyone,
everybody. Have a great week.
really have a great week. We'll see you in the next episode, everyone. Bye.